So, 100,000 nurses left the profession during the pandemic, and over 900,000 are slated to leave by 2027. What are we going to do? So, hey YouTubers, I am back. I know my videos are a bit sporadic, but I'm a work in progress and really trying to bring you content that's meaningful for where you are and what you're interested in learning about. So, the third week in April, huge headlines came out that nurses are leaving the profession because they're burned out from the pandemic. Wow, are we really surprised by this? I mean, this burnout topic has been happening through the pandemic, post-pandemic, and I think this article really just highlighted everything that we've already known or that we're experiencing, right? But I wanted to take a deeper dive into it as I saw so many people commenting on it in the media, on social media, on LinkedIn, etc. Firstly, as they highlighted in the article, the numbers are saddening, but potentially true. And many of the comments were saying, what are the biggest reasons why? And people said, staffing shortage, not enough nurses, staff ratios were off, staff violence from patients, leaders aren't doing anything, hospitals aren't doing anything, and even that some of the institutions they highlighted as being in a good space are horrendous to work at. Now, I'm not saying that's true or not, I'm just letting you know what was said. And with all of that complaining that was occurring, rightfully so, the message really and the tone was that leave nursing. Like, just leave it. Like, it's not for us. No one's going to support us. And honestly, my heart sunk. And the reason why is because, yes, I left my role in 2021 because I was burned out, but I never felt like I wanted to stop being a nurse. I actually wanted to take a break to figure out how I can continue to make an impact in nursing. And as I've described in videos before, that's the beauty of nursing. There's so many things you can do with your skill set, with your degree. That doesn't necessarily mean at the bedside working many hours or shift work, etc. And I'm not negating, like, if that's your jam, if that's your thing to do for 20, 25 years, absolutely do it because we need you. But I think we can also use nurses who think differently, innovatively to make some of our challenges get better, right? And so while all of that was happening and I was hearing all this negative talk about nursing, my opinion on the situation is that healthcare is in crisis. Again, tons of headlines. And many of the driving factors of that are due to policies that are done in Congress that enforce insurance companies to enforce certain laws so that money can be made. And unfortunately, hospitals and organizations now have to function more as a business versus an organization that focuses primarily on delivering care. I mean, yes, it goes hand in hand, but there has to be numbers in order to support our salaries as well as take care of patients appropriately. So that becomes a challenge, right? With competing factors as you're trying to deliver the best care in the safest way possible. The other thing that really struck me was leadership, right? And I can tell you, having been a team lead, a manager, leaders are probably facing some of the same challenges you are, just in a different way. Many times you probably realize that leaders have to enforce policies that they may not necessarily agree with. And with that occurring, they start having some concerns about what are they doing. And yet trying to support you and your team and lead effectively, I'm sure your leaders are feeling the same way you are, just for different reasons, which means that they don't really have the capacity or the space or time right now to probably make a lot of these innovative changes. Really has to happen step by step with small wins. And then lastly, I think about us as nurses, right? I'm sure that when you saw this article, you talked about it with friends, family members who inquired, maybe spoke about it on your unit at a meeting, and maybe complained how awful this is. But is it awful because everyone says it's awful, or is it truly awful for you? And here's where I think we as nurses actually need to take ownership of our profession and help drive some change so we can change the narrative that nursing is terrible, horrible, and you're going to burn out, because clearly we need more nurses, right? And I know you're going to tell me after just talking about leadership, no one listens to you. You're not a leader. No one listens to what you have to say or care about what you have to say. But my question is, did you try? Because if we say no one listens, that means we had to try. But if we haven't tried, then how can we say that? And then the other piece is, are you really feeling burned out? Or is it this feeling of like, I'm tired all the time, I'm exhausted? And everybody says that. So this is just a job and this is how we're supposed to feel. And I want to say, you don't have to feel that way at all, right? Yes, I know working in nursing is hard, but how do you start shifting that narrative for you? What does that look like? Or what do you want that to look like for yourself? And that's what I mean about taking ownership of it all. So back in December 2021, I was burned out as a leader. I was exhausted. I felt like I could not give to my team. I didn't feel like I can continue leading in the innovative way that I wanted to. And many people had asked me, is it this person or this department or this leader that's making you want to leave? And I said, no, I'm just realizing there's something else I want to try, but I can't figure it out in this space. So I need time to figure it out, what it is and what does it look like. And so that's literally why I left my job, to take a break, to rest, and figure out how did I want to show up in nursing again. So I would challenge you now to start thinking about how you can take ownership of the narrative of your career, not the entire nursing profession, because trust me, there are still some nurses out there who love what they do, even if that's not how you're feeling right now. And you then might be asking me, well, how do I take ownership, Amy? Everything's a mess, it's a disaster, the building's falling, it's crumbling, right? And here's my point, or here's what I want you to think about. If when you saw the headline and you spoke to friends, colleagues, whomever you may have had a simple conversation or about the article and what it means for the nursing career, and if you uttered the words, I wish I could just ... and I'm going to give you some fill in the blanks. I wish I could just work in another role or in another department. I wish I could just try another specialty. I wish I could work part-time so I could work on this side project or passion project that I've always wanted to do, or business I've always wanted to start. Or if you said, I wish I could just take a break and rest. I know I'd be so much better if I just took some time off and got to do nothing, sleep in without an alarm clock, or focus on my family just for a bit so I can do more in my career. Well, see, that's you taking ownership of your life and your career. You can shift the narrative for you. You don't have to stay in the same mental space that everybody is. And so here I am today challenging us as nurses to take ownership of our profession, take ownership of our own career. Don't let headlines dictate how you feel. I mean, if you are feeling burned out, well, now is the time to do something about it. Don't just sit there and accept it. How can you shift that narrative for you? What are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that excite you? What are the things that you wish you could have done, but you never, ventured into it? It's like my previous video, feel the fear and do it anyways. If we stay in this space of everything's bad and nothing's going to get better, well, it is going to stay bad and it will not get better. But as nurses, I know we are leaders, we are innovators, we're problem solvers. We fix things and people. So we can fix what's happening in nursing. We can fix our career path. And so once again, I challenge you to think outside the box. What is the thing that you could do differently right now to take ownership of your career and then inspire others to do the same? If you have any thoughts, ideas, comments, likes, or dislikes, please drop them in the chat. And always remember to subscribe. I would love to hear your thoughts, comments on this idea, and even how you're planning to take ownership of your career so that you don't have to fit into this narrative of burnout. Once again, remember, you can always do anything as a nurse. Till next time, YouTube.